The clock struck midnight, and the world outside my window had sunk into an inky silence. I was alone, the only heartbeat in a house that seemed to echo with the memories of laughter and warmth, now replaced by a chilling stillness. The walls whispered with the subtle creaks and groans of age, as if conversing in hushed tones about the living soul amongst them. I nestled deeper into the couch, the glow of the TV casting ghostly shadows that danced across the room. It was then I heard it, a faint tapping, like the delicate fingers of a child rapping against the glass. I froze, my breath caught in my throat. The tapping grew more insistent, more desperate. I mustered the courage to approach the window, peering into the darkness. Nothing, just the empty street and the occasional flutter of leaves in the wind. Returning to my seat, I tried to convince myself it was just my imagination, a trick of solitude playing on my mind, but the house seemed to disagree. The air grew colder, the shadows darker, and the silence was shattered by a sudden, sharp crash from upstairs. My heart raced, pounding against my ribs as I contemplated the impossible. There was no one else here, no one to make such a noise. With trembling hands, I reached for the baseball bat. I kept for security, the weight of it both a comfort and a burden. I ascended the stairs, each step creaking underfoot like an announcement of my approach. The hallway was a tunnel of darkness, each door a gateway to further shadows. The crash had come from the spare room, a place I seldom ventured. I pushed the door open, the bat raised high, ready to confront nothing. The room was undisturbed, save for the open window and the curtains billowing like specters in the breeze. Relief washed over me, followed swiftly by confusion. Had I left the window open? I couldn't remember. As I moved to close it, a glint of light caught my eye. There, on the floor, lay a small, antique locket, its chain tangled, its surface scratched and worn. I had never seen it before. Picking it up, I felt a shiver run down my spine. The locket was ice gold, and it seemed to throb with a life of its own. I opened it, and inside was a picture, faded with time, of a woman. Her eyes, dark and deep, bore into mine with an intensity that felt almost alive. The air grew thick, the shadows in the corners of the room gathered like storm clouds, and a voice, soft and melodic, filled the space around me. "Thank you for finding me," it whispered. I dropped the locket in horror, backing away as the temperature plummeted, my breath visible in the air. The woman's voice laughed, a sound that twisted with malice. "You're not alone anymore," she said. And then the lights flickered, the room spun, and I was falling into darkness. When I awoke, it was morning, the sun streaming through the windows with the promise of a new day. The locket was gone, the window closed, and the house was silent once more, but something had changed. I could feel it, a presence lingering just out of sight, watching, waiting. Days passed, and the presence grew stronger, the nights longer, the shadows more daring. I was no longer alone in my house, and the realization was a weight I could not bear. I decided to leave, to escape the haunting that had claimed my home. But as I packed my bags, I found it, the locket, nestled amongst my clothes, its chain no longer tangled, its surface polished to a shine. The woman's picture was gone, replaced by my own reflection, staring back at me with eyes that were not quite my own. I understood then the house hadn't been haunted by a spirit. It was me, my own reflection, my own presence that filled the rooms with dread. I was the ghost in my own home, trapped in a loop of time, destined to relive that night over and over, the night when the attack happened. It's the same normal night. I was chilling on my couch watching TV when a robber entered my house. The tapping noise was them trying to enter in a very discreet way. At first, they were not able to enter as I locked myself in my house as I am all alone. I made sure that everything is locked for my own safety, but that wasn't enough for these robbers. They managed to find the only weakness of this house, which is the window to that spare room. It was on the second floor. It's a little bit broken, but I got that locked up properly, so I did not really pay much attention to it, as I thought no one will break through on the second floor. But it was dumb for me to not get that fixed, as evidently they managed to enter the premises. I prepared myself for the worst, grabbing my trusty bat for protection. Before I even got to the second floor, I was shot. I did not succumb easily, as I managed to take another step before they opened fire again, this time finally ending me. The story ends here, but for me it never truly does. Each night, as the clock strikes midnight, I am there, alone in my house, something eerie happening around me, and the dread that keeps me awake at night. Thank you for tuning in. I will see you again next week.